I was at the airport one day, and there's two pilots standing there, and we're all waiting to get on the plane, and they're talking. And I went to throw something in the trash can near them, and I dropped my plane ticket in the trash can with whatever I was throwing in. And I was like, oh no. And I looked down, and it's way down there. And I just said, I need a hero. And they both whipped their head around, and they go, huh? I go, I just dropped my ticket in the trash. And one of them was like, yeah, oh, I got that. And the other one was kind of like, no, I wanted to get it. And I was cracking up inside because they both, and one reaches down. It was no big deal for him to reach in the trash, but I didn't want to reach in the dirty trash can. And I just said, thank you so much. You saved me. You're my hero. And you should have seen the smile on their faces. Yeah. It was so cute.
Welcome to the Daniele Hage podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Hage. Daniele is my mother-in-law and Nini to my three girls. She has 40 years experience in marriage and family relationships. She's been married for 42 years to Steve Hage, who travels the world preaching the gospel, and together they pastor a church in Laguna Niguel, California. So welcome back, Daniele. So glad you're here.
Me
and
too.
Today we're going to talk about how to get what you need from a man.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about specific words that we as women can use to get what we need from a man. You're going to talk about how to use those words, not manipulate men. But the first thing we need to do is we need your help. We need your help identifying us as women. What are our needs in this thing called life and relationships? Mm-hmm. How do we identify those?
Okay, so there's a big difference between a need and a want.
Mm-hmm.
A need is something that you are unbalanced or unwell without.
Yeah.
It's like I can live forever without getting all my wants met.
Okay.
But there's some things that I need that I cannot survive or cannot survive in a relationship.
Okay.
Like I need sleep, I need food, I need water, I need exercise, I need fun. Okay, there's certain things that I can live without those needs being met for a time, but not forever.
Yeah.
And then there's things that I want. I mean, I would like to have a house on the beach, closer to the water. I'd like to step out my front door onto the sand. I'd like to have a boat. I'd like to have a G-Wagon. But I can live without those things.
Yeah.
So first you have, as a woman, you got to sit down. Sometimes we need to sit down and write it out. Mm-hmm. Make a list. Needs, wants. What is a need? And again, that's going to be very individual, very unique to each person.
I think it's good giving some examples because this is something that I have struggled with. You know, my husband and I are, we're communicators. I'm very thankful to be in a relationship where we flesh a lot of things out and have a lot of words. But recently we've been talking about like, I need a date night. And what does it look like?
Right.
You know, and he's like, well, doesn't this count? We're at coffee. And I know we've talked about this before, but it does. It just kind of keeps coming up. So, and I brought it up to you today and you're like, well, okay, that kind of date night is actually not a need because I can live without the fine dinner and getting all dressed up and having new shoes and, you know, that.
So let me ask you this. What would a date night provide for you?
Connection, communication. I'm a quality time person. So for me, it fills my quality time tank. Yes.
So you feel loved when you're having that quality time, one-on-one, intimate conversation.
Yeah.
You
not
feel
having
connected.
to worry about the kids, knowing they're taken care of.
Yeah. So that's your need.
Yeah.
Right there. But a date night will provide that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have that time alone. Mm-hmm. So that's what he needs to hear. I need to be with you. I want to be with you. Yeah. Can we get alone? Can we go somewhere? I want to get dressed up and feel pretty. I want to look into each other's eyes. Just being very, very honest, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's very vulnerable, which women have a hard time, I think, telling men what they need because it makes them vulnerable. Well, and they don't want to be.
And we've talked about how
to be vulnerable.
Yeah. And you talked about how we relate to our needs. You know, we as women are self-sacrificing.
Yes. And men relate very differently to their needs. And so if we understand how he relates to his needs, that will help us to get our needs met. For him, his needs are direct and immediate. They're critical and urgent. He has a need. He gets it met right now. If it's not critical and urgent, he will dismiss his own need. Yeah. And he may dismiss yours if he doesn't think it's direct and immediate, critical and urgent. And that's why it's so important for us to communicate directly with as few words as possible what it is we need, what it will provide for us if that need if and when that need gets met. And we have to remember that men want to meet women's needs, but a lot of times we withhold the information that they need in order to meet our needs.
Right.
So that's why we have to learn how to communicate and talk to a man about what we need. And there are certain words that women can use that actually empower him and inspire him to want to meet your need.
Okay, so what if you kind of feel like you're in this like power struggle, and maybe it's just perceived as a woman because I'm not communicating the value of my need, or I'm not communicating clearly what my need is. But let's just use a basic one, like especially when you have young kids, sleep.
Yeah.
Right? He needs sleep because he's probably getting up in the morning, going to work. He needs his day full, right? And I think men can sleep a little bit more through all the babies crying and getting up in the middle of the night and the bathroom breaks and all that. But as a woman, I feel like I've sacrificed many years of good quality sleep because nursing babies and all of that. So it becomes this like, oh my gosh, I just need sleep, but at what point is it like, okay, who gives in, or is there a stalemate, or is he willing to give up a good night's sleep, even though it's a need for him to help you get your need met as well? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. And I think, there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
I mean, when your babies are little, like, I mean, a lot of times my husband and I, we would take turns, or the baby was down the hallway in the other room, and it helped me so much if I had those few extra minutes where he would get up, go get the baby, bring the baby into the bed with me so that I can nurse the baby. And then when she was done nursing, he'd take the baby back. That was huge for me. Yeah. Just having an extra minute of sleep and not having to get up. And I think you have to just work out with your partner and find the ways to do it. Yeah. And I hear men and women talking about that all the time when it comes to parenting, is taking turns. Okay, it's your turn to get up tonight. Yeah. But again, you've got to find the arrangement that works for you. Yeah. And again, communicating it, being honest about it. And because I don't think any man would say, I don't care that you're not sleeping. I need my sleep, and figure it out. I mean, when you love one another, you want to help each other any way you can. Right, so that's what you have to figure out, the arrangement. Yeah. Yeah. And it's different for everybody.
Right. So how do we have that conversation? Another need that I have, for example, is I need to exercise. If I don't exercise, if I don't get an hour in a day of headphones in, listen to my music, kids taken care of and head down,
you're going to be cranky.
I don't feel like myself. My mental health goes out the window, and that is a need for me. Right. So what are some of those words to help get that need met?
Yeah. Well, and you might have to, for your husband, I know when my kids were little, I would give up sleep to get exercise. Yeah. I would be up at 5 a.m. before they went to school. Yeah. Now, my husband never did that, but I was like, I got to get it in so I can be the best mother that I can be. So I would get up before they got up and sacrifice some sleep to get my workout out in, but then I was happy. Yeah. I was happy and I felt like I was a better mom for them. Yeah. So again, if you need his help in staying with the kids while you go to the gym or whatever exercise you need need to say that. I need your help. Yeah. I need your help in assisting me. Can you be there for the kids while I take off and I'll be back in an hour? Yeah. And I think, so the word need is very important. Letting him know you need him is huge for a man, because men naturally want to meet women's needs. And the word help, that's the next word. It would help me. It always helps me when. Yeah. I need your help in feeding the kids dinner or doing kids' homework,
picking up a kid from dance,
whatever it is. Being willing to use that word. And again, women resist using these words because they think these words make them weak. Yeah. They don't. They make you vulnerable. And men find vulnerability in women irresistible. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. He wants to help. He wants to meet your need.
And I love some of these words. I mean, you taught these 6 words to me several years ago, and now still we kind of use some of them in a lighthearted, we are being, funny or joking. We had some friends over a couple weeks ago, and I kind of yelled across the kitchen like, oh, you'd be I'm going to use one of the words and go ahead and spill it. But one of the last words we'll talk about is hero. You'll be my hero if you took out the garbage. And I said it in a light, funny, and my husband just shouts back. He's like, I know what you're doing and I love it. And yes, I will take out the garbage. And he knows knows. He knows what the
Yes.
words are. He knows
Yeah.
the psychology behind it.
Right.
But so we just use it in a fun and lighthearted way. But
Yes.
I do remember the first time you telling me some of those words, and I was like, I don't know if those words can ever be formed on my tongue and come out of my
Right.
mouth and sound
Right.
authentic.
Right, because our culture has taught us not to need men.
Yeah.
At the feminist movement, told women we don't need men, we can do it
Yeah.
on our own.
Yeah.
And guess what? We can. We've
can.
gotten really good, but I
Yeah.
don't want to do everything on my own.
Right.
I want to have a partner.
Well, our mental load is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like you said, they don't know. They don't relate to their needs the same way we relate to
Right.
our needs. So they're just not aware. So a lot of times using the words help, or it would just really help
Right.
me because I've got this child that needs to be over here on this side of town at this time. And he just didn't
Yeah.
even realize.
Yeah.
you
So
know?
so for women, they think men are selfish because they get their
Mhm.
needs met
Yeah.
when they have a need.
Yes.
The way we relate to our needs is self-sacrificing. We will make sure everybody else is taken care of before we take care of our own needs.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
Because in order for us to be able to caretake, to nurture children and family, and even to go to work and do our jobs, we need to take care of our needs too. So
Yeah.
we can't always rely on men to meet
yeah,
our
that's
needs.
a good point. Yes, we
Um,
have to take responsibility
There's some
too.
needs, some emotional, spiritual needs I have that only God can
Yes.
fulfill. There's some needs that only I can take care of. There's some needs that my girlfriends meet that my
Mhm.
husband can't. My
Yeah.
need to talk and share details. Men are bottom liners. I always tell women, tell them what you need in as few words as possible. Be very specific
Yeah.
because they don't need all the details. If they want details, they'll ask for them. But women, we can handle lots of details. In
Yeah.
fact, lots of details make us feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
And sometimes when men withhold details, it's like a red flag for a woman. It's like, what, you don't want to be involved in my life? Why aren't you giving me details? And again, it might seem silly to men that this is how women are, but I'm telling you what works with women.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
this is what
Well,
works.
and that's even how I relate to my needs. It's like the need that I have sometimes is just filled with so many details because it's the kids and the dog, and the time and all these things I have
Yeah.
to do. I just feel like I'm not communicating effectively enough because there are so many details that go into maybe getting my need met.
Yeah,
That's just like, oh, fine, never mind, I'll figure it out.
right.
But
right.
I'm hearing you say, if I can really get to the root, the
Right.
need isn't the date night. The need is the connection.
The-
If I can get to the root
Mhm.
of what my need is and state that specifically, and we'll
Exactly.
go over the 4 other words as well, then he can help
Yes.
figure out the details, or I'll feel released to figure out the details because I know that he's in my corner getting that need
Exactly.
met. That's good.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the word need is important. The word help is important. Another word is the word happy.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me so happy every single time you call me when you're going to be
Yeah.
when you're going to be late getting home. Oh my gosh, it makes me so happy. Why does that make me happy? I feel at peace. I know what to expect. I know not to expect you home at 5. I know you're going to be 15 minutes late. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And just letting him know. You don't want to use the word joy or it makes me feel good, but using the word happy. And the reason for that is men hold themselves accountable for their wife's happiness.
Yeah.
It is not their responsibility to make us happy.
Yeah.
Our state of happiness is internal. We have to work on that,
Yeah.
but they can make us happier.
Mhm.
And they can contribute to our lives and make us happier.
Yeah.
And that's really what they want to do. Or, why do we need a man in our life? Unless he's going to contribute to something
Right,
to make
right.
it even better,
Right.
right? But finding ways to and intentionalize using that word
Yeah.
and not in a manipulative way, because all these words can become
Mhm.
manipulative. It'll make me happy when
Yeah.
Or-
Conditional.
my happiness depends on you changing and
Yeah.
doing this way or doing that way.
Yeah.
That's manipulation. That's
Mhm.
control. And a man will feel controlled
Yeah.
when you make him think that the only way you're going to be happy. And some women
Yeah.
are unhappy on principle. Well, I'm really unhappy. That's not
Yeah.
going to motivate him. Okay.
Yeah.
Men are motivated by wins.
Yeah.
Not by failures.
Right.
So letting him know, it makes me so happy that you thought about me and you
Yeah.
called me or you text me today
Yeah.
during the workday.
Yeah.
It just made me happy that
Yeah.
you were thinking about me.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Well, and coming up with those little things that make you happy, I've noticed, like with Christian, I tell him, I still get the butterflies. It makes me happy when I see your name and picture pop up on my phone.
Yeah.
Just like
yeah.
it did before, when we were
Right.
dating. Or it makes me happy when you set the coffee for the morning because
Right.
it makes me feel like you've thought about me
Yes.
and
So good.
you see me and you know that I have a busy day. But when I state those simple statements, he does it over and
Yeah.
over and over and over
Yeah.
again, and I don't have to like ask for it. It doesn't
Right.
become an obligation at that point because he really does value
Right.
what makes me happy.
Right.
Okay.
And you're by doing that, you're showing him appreciation.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this before, but I'm going to hammer it home. For a man, when he feels appreciated for the little things, you started the coffee.
Yeah.
You put gas in my car.
Yeah.
It causes him, it motivates him, it compels him to want to do even more. That little thing made her happy. Shoot, next time I'm going to make her a whole breakfast. Like they want to, 'cause again, they're motivated because
Yeah.
he's winning. He's
Yeah.
winning with you. You're
Yeah.
happy. He wants to do more.
Yeah.
So
okay. So the next one after happy is
the word save.
Okay.
It would save me if you could take the girls to dance.
Yeah.
I've got so much on my list today, and that would just take one thing off my list.
Mhm.
Whenever you do that, it saved me. It saved me time. It saved me stress. Try to find a word to use that, a way to
Mhm.
use that word, not to be confused with the word savior. Your men,
that's good.
husbands, boyfriends are not your savior. There's
Mhm.
one savior.
Yeah.
His name is Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
But letting him know that it saved whatever it saved you from, it saved me from having to lift that and, put my back out.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. That one is a little bit more hard for me to use.
Yeah. Okay. So think about it like this. Think about all the movies that you've seen where the man comes and he rescues the princess, where he rescues the damsel in distress.
Right.
We love those movies, right? Because there's our hero. He's the rescuer. He's saving the woman.
Yeah.
And men want to save. They're motivated to save
Yeah.
vulnerable women and children.
Yeah.
So if we can find a way to use that word,
Mhm.
it will inspire him. It will
That's
empower
good.
him.
And even just using it practically is okay too.
Of
Like you saved
course.
me time or you saved me an
Whatever
extra
it
trip
is.
at the store.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, rarely today are they saving us from, from an axe
dangers or-
murder, right? But just, it's those little things, the
Yeah.
everyday things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. And then we have one more word?
We have two more words.
Okay, two more. Yep.
So the word hero is
Okay.
huge. And rarely today do we give men a chance to be our hero because, again, we've become so good at doing everything ourselves, so self-sufficient, so independent, that we don't need them. And we need to find the balance because I know I've heard people say, or people have commented, well, you're contradicting yourself. You're saying, don't be so dependent on them, but yet women have become too independent. Again, it's interdependence. We need to find the balance where we let them know we need them, yes, but we're not so dependent on them that we can't survive life without them. Okay?
Yeah. Because
That's
they're not our
overboard.
savior.
Overboard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we need to save that kind of dependence for God, not for a
Mhm.
human being.
Right.
But allowing a man to be your hero. And then that's one of the words that women have said, I can't get it out of my
And
mouth.
that's the one I just joke
And
with.
make it sound
Like, "You're my
genuine."
hero."
Yeah. But if you can write it, you can text it, you can
Yeah.
email it, you can write it in a card. But letting him know that you are my knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
You are my hero. You saved me, kind of thing. And again,
Mhm.
for any reason, like I was at the airport one day and there's two pilots standing there and we're all waiting to get on the plane and they're talking. And I went to throw something in the trash can near them and I dropped my plane ticket in the trash can with whatever I was throwing in. And I was like, oh no. And I looked down and it's way down there. And I just said, I need a hero. And they both whipped their head around and they go, huh? I go, I just dropped my ticket in the trash. And one of them was like, yeah, oh, I got that. And the other one was kind of like, no, I wanted to get it. And I was cracking up inside because they both, and one reaches down, was no big deal for him to reach in the trash, but I didn't want to reach in the dirty trash can. And I just said, thank you so much. You saved me. You're my hero. And you should have seen the smile on their faces. It was so cute. And I could have got it myself, but I think it's kind of fun to watch men's responses. Putting my luggage up in the overhead.
Yeah.
I remember a man asked me one time, do you need help doing that? I could do it. I do it all the time. I go, yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you. You're my hero. And again, the way that his
Building
chest puffed out, and it's just giving men a chance to be our heroes.
Yeah.
We rarely do that anymore. Find a way.
Yeah. I like helping the girls realize that too with their dad. He goes and saves the stuffed animal from under the bed that one of my children can't reach because she's too small. She comes out and, oh my gosh, Daddy, he saved your stuffed animal and he's such your hero. And even just hearing them
starting to train them in that way.
Even be able to say that, he comes in the door, it's like, my hero's home, know. And
my grandson, he was probably only like 10 years old, and a little girl had tripped down some stairs, and he ran over to help her up. And this little girl, I don't even know who she was, stood up and she said, "You're my hero."
It's natural for them to say that. That's it. Yeah. For my girls to say saved and hero is natural for them.
And because they've watched all the Disney fairy tales, probably.
Yes.
And my grandson, he was like, he went right to his mom and he said, "Mom," he goes, "that little girl called me her hero."
Yeah.
He was amazed and he loved it.
Yeah.
And my daughter, knowing the language, men's language, she said, "Oh my gosh, Kaden, and that's right, you saved her. You were her hero." And she came and told me right away, she goes, "Oh my gosh, at this young age, very young age, they already are empowered by that word."
Yeah.
Okay, and so the last word is the word provide.
Yeah.
Men are natural providers. Men want to provide. But so when they provide something you need, let them know what it is that it provided for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they meet a need. I really need you. I just need you to listen. I got to process. I don't really need an answer. I just got to get this out of my brain. So can you just give me your ears?
That's good.
And then once they listen, you say, "You know what that provided for me? I feel light. I feel airy. Thank you. I just needed to get it out of my system. Thank you for listening to me." So the word provide is huge with men because they're natural providers. But here's the thing, the caveat. You don't ever want to ask a man for something that he is incapable of providing or unwilling to provide.
Right.
So if you want the big house on the beach, you want the big nice car, you want
your
the big diamond ring, you want, the remodeling of the house, whatever. And his salary, he lives on a school teacher salary, let's say. That's probably not going to be the man for you. If you really need and want all these things that he is never going to be able to afford, first of all, he's never going to want to marry you because he doesn't think he can afford you. Yeah. So, or asking him for things that he is unwilling to provide. So men will always, in our house, my husband was in charge of the bank account. Yeah. And there were certain things that I'd say, "Hey, we need new furniture. We need a new sofa." And he would veto it. Like, "Nope." And I'd be like, "Wait, what?" Because I know he wants to provide. I know he wants to give me what I want, but he would veto it. And he has that vetoing power because at that time he was the main breadwinner. Yeah. And so even though he wants to provide what I want, a man's instinct to protect will override his instinct to provide. Yeah. So he's going to protect the bank account because he is looking into the future and he knows what the household needs.
Different needs.
So it may not be that he never provides the new sofa, but maybe not at this time.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
Be careful what you're asking for. Make sure it's within his wheelhouse to actually be able to provide it for you.
And not constantly chasing the carrot. I think I can do that sometimes, like, "Oh, thanks."
And now
and now a few months later, now I want the next thing, or I want the next thing, or what about this, or what about this, or how are we planning for the future for this?
Right.
And sometimes I can get in that rat race or comparison trap of constantly asking for the next thing.
Right.
And that really just is something in me that's a comparison of, whoever I'm looking at on Instagram or this and that and the other.
Right.
And then placing that unspoken expectation on my husband.
Right. Yeah. And so you had talked about needing a date night. And I asked you, is that a need or is it a want?
Yeah.
And again, needs are things that you are unwell or unbalanced without. We need sleep. We need water. We need rest. We need exercise. We need to eat healthy foods.
Yep.
What you could say in asking for a date night is, "I want a date night. Yeah. I don't need it. I can go without it for another month, but I really want it." And what that provides for me is intimacy with you. Yeah. One-on-one connection, intimate connection, looking at each other in our eyes. I want to get dressed up. I want to feel pretty. I want to go out. And whatever that date night, the romantic date night looks like to you, because again, romance is different for you than it might be for him.
Right.
So what things he might find romantic is going and playing pickleball together. But for you, it's like, no, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to feel pretty. I want to wear a nice dress and I want to be taken out for dinner.
Yeah.
And what is that going to do for you? and letting him know what that provides for you.
Yeah. So funny, the night before you came to town, he took me on a date night.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I said, I just joked.
Because you asked for it?
You're getting it in before your mom comes to town so you don't get in trouble.
Uh-oh, mom's coming to town. Let's do everything right.
So that way it doesn't come up on the podcast.
Right.
I feel like we're always talking about my date nights.
That's great. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. That's good.
It was
That's
good. We did have a conversation about it last week. Again, it really is. I'm going to admit it. Like, to me, you're helping me understand that the need really is my need for that quality time and intimacy together and having the children taken care of.
And that would be a need because that's what makes you feel loved. Your love language is quality time.
Right.
I'm not going to feel loved if you never speak my language. My tank is running low. I can hang in there for another week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take the pressure off.
Yeah.
But I just want you to know, be thinking about this. It's getting to the point now where it's becoming a need because I need to feel loved.
Yeah. But being cognizant of what he can provide and what we're working towards in the season and what things can count. We've talked about that before too. Like the need is not the big date night downtown, extravagant spend money that is, that you
don't have.
Yeah, that we don't have or, is extravagant that we could spend other places, but knowing what counts.
Yeah.
And knowing that maybe just the coffee date does count every once in a while, but I really do appreciate when I'm provided for a nice dinner out and get to get dressed up and curl my hair.
Yeah.
But we made it happen this week. He made it happen.
That's so great.
We can celebrate.
And don't try to say all 6 words in one sentence. No. It would make me happy when you fulfill my need and provide and you're my hero. Like it has to come with genuineness.
Yeah.
Okay. So let it marinate and then just look for reasons to use these words and just try it out. See what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
That's good. I used to have them written down, ladies. So just write them down, keep them in your pocket. I had to have them on my phone. Yeah. If there was something that would pop up, I literally would look at my phone and then say a sentence or like you said too, I'm a writer. So leaving little sticky notes on his desk, on his computer. I haven't done that in a while, but that just reminded me.
Yeah, that's
probably
good.
Bring that back up. So
every now and then we need reminders of what we've learned in the past.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in today. I had fun on this episode. Thank you, Daniele, for being here and teaching us how to get our needs met from the men in our lives. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when new podcasts are coming your way. Leave a comment down below, and we'd love to answer any of your questions. Make sure you follow Daniele on Instagram and Facebook.